Welcome, crypto fam, to the #1 daily Bitcoin pod. Happy sat stacking Saturday. Bitcoin blasted off to 65,000. We're still in the green. In today's show, I'll be sharing the latest Bitcoin technical analysis. Also quoting RFK Jr. I put most of my wealth into Bitcoin. I'm fully committed. And quoting Michael Saylor, you will spend 40,000 hours of your life trying to make money. It's worthwhile to spend 100 hours figuring out how to keep it. Preach. We'll also be discussing Hong Kong Bitcoin ETFs top 250 million in assets under management. And speaking of Bitcoin ETFs, they also soared 252 million in a new influx as Ether ETFs experience another day of losses. We'll also be discussing Binance founder CZ leaves US prison but is not fully free yet. I'll be breaking down the details. We'll also be discussing the latest with RFK Jr. He says he is suspending, not terminating, his presidential campaign. We'll also be discussing Bitcoin price by 2050. According to this major asset manager, they say 52 million can be in play for their bull scenario. I'll be breaking it down for you. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more in today's show. If you're new to the channel, important to smash the likes, go ahead and subscribe, then hit that bell icon. Turn on all notifications to receive daily premium crypto news alerts every single day, just like this. Happy Sat Stack and Saturday. Today is pod episode number 1739. I'm your host, JV. It's August 24th, 2024. Markets are pumping. We almost reclaimed 65 yesterday. In fact, we hit like 64,980, and we're still above 64,200 at the time of the live stream right now. And let's check out our market watch. Should be able to see up on your screen. We can see Bitcoin still up 1% on the day, trading at roughly 64,400. We have Ether up 1.5%, trading at roughly 2,800. Solana up almost 7%. Matic up 8%. A lot of gainers across the board in the market as the market cap continues to climb. And speaking of the market cap, the total crypto market cap currently $2.28 trillion, with a Bitcoin market cap at $1.268 trillion. We got roughly 65 billion worth of volume for the past 24 hours. And we have the Bitcoin dominance currently at 55.7%, with the Ether dominance at 14.8%. How high do you think the Bitcoin Dom will climb for the cycle? Let me know. Checking out top 100 crypto gainers past 24 hours. We got Pepe up 12%, Render up 12%, and WIF up 11%. Let me know which alts, if any, you're bullish on for the bull. And checking out the crypto bubbles to get more of a visual perspective of the market. Virtually everything in the green. Safe to say 99% of the market. The only thing I see barely in the red is XMR, which is Monero and Leo and Tau. So almost everything crushing. And zooming out on the monthly, nice divided mixed bag here. I'd say 60% in the green, 40% in the red. And checking out the crypto green and fear index today, we're at 56 greed. Yesterday's 34 fear. Last week, 25 in extreme fear. And last month, a 68 in greed. And checking out the time chain calendar so you can see what block we're officially on. It's 858,289. And let's see the current conversion today. Satoshis to dollars. You can currently get 1,556 sats for $1 US. It'll probably run you roughly $600 to become a Satoshi millionaire. If you're not already a Satoshi millionaire, what are you doing with your life? Come on, you can do it. But anyways, fam, let's dive into today's technical analysis, aka astrology for the broskies. We'll check out some of the live charts, check out some of the price action, and go from there. Welcome everyone just joining the stream. So headline here reads, Bitcoin's Coinbase premium hits 39-day high as 63,000 is reclaimed. In fact, we even reclaimed 64 Gs, which we're currently above. That's right. Bitcoin buyer interest in the U.S. hit a 39-day high following the U.S. Fed further confirming interest rates were due to fall, according to recent data. Quoting Crypto Quant here, Bitcoin demand in the U.S. spiked today as the Fed signaled the cycle of the lower interest rates will begin. Now, they also claim that was based on the Coinbase Premium Index, which measures the gap between the biddy price on Coinbase Pro and Binance and is used as an indicator of U.S. investor demand compared to the rest of the world. The indicator hit its highest point since July 15th, reaching 0.0114. And while positive readings suggest the buying pressure, negative readings signal a sell-off is happening. Just before Crypto Black Monday on August 5th, when Bitcoin price fell below 50 Gs, the Coinbase Premium dropped below 0.10. That's when we temporarily touched the recent local bottom of 49. The increase in demand came after Fed Chairman Jay Powell assured the public that the interest rate cuts were likely, but he didn't specify when. Quoting him here, "The time has come for the policy to adjust." And at the time, Bitcoin was trading at 63. Well, at this point, we're above 64, so we're up roughly 5% since August 22nd, 2 days ago. And so yesterday we climbed 5%, and today we're kind of holding steady. Bitcoin's price spiked just shy of 65, reaching 64.8, a level it hadn't seen since August 2nd, so literally 22 days. Now, Powell's event, which markets keenly watch for policy easing cues, saw a dovish Powell herald the appropriate dialing back of the policy restraint while not giving concrete timelines for the cuts to begin. And just hours before the Fed's announcement and the Bitcoin price surge, Bitcoin was hovering at the 60,000 mark. That's right. With concerns about potential selling pressure from the miners due to the cost of the Bitcoin mining remaining at 72,224. Now, on-chain analyst William Clemente stated there is still 7 days left in the month, but there is no denying that the market has seen sub 60,000 Bitcoin as value for 6 months now. It's like we've been stuck at 60 G's. Wild, right? Quoting RFK Jr., "I put most of my wealth into the Bitcoin. I am fully committed." And quoting Giga Chad Mike Saylor, "You will spend 40,000 hours of your life trying to make money. It's worthwhile to spend 100 hours figuring out how to keep it." I mean, common sense, you would think, right? And shout out Michael Saylor. Now, welcome, everyone. Oh, actually, I did promise to pull up some of the live charts, so let's do that actually next. Keep the comments flowing. We'll pull up the live charts, and then I'll check the comments, and we'll read all the comments out loud. You should be able to see on your screen right here. Oh, did I not set the chat? Oh, yeah, I switched out the chat yesterday to the Rumble. Let me fix it back to the YouTube. Give me a second. We'll play a little music as I'm updating the chat for the live charts.
We've been climbing, aim for $1 million climaxing, never stopping. Bitcoin is rising.
Well, that was simple enough. It looks like I got it fixed. Okay, so yeah, you can look at the live chart right now. This is the 1 hour. The 1 hour chart shows us roughly $64,300. This is live and in the flesh right now. You can see yesterday we had massive breakout. We'll zoom out from here. We'll go to the 4 hour. This is brought to you via TradingView via Coinbase. You can see we're starting to build some bullish momentum here. It looks like we're going to retest 65,000. Hopefully we can break through this time. And checking out the 1 day chart, which was pretty lit yesterday. Even today, look at that. Big green candle yesterday. We're already forming another green candle thus far for today. But do note, we do have a target sitting all the way down at 47.7. And zooming out a little further, we'll check out the 1 week and then the 1 month. The 1 week still looking uber bullish. We still have that sexy cup and handle pattern at 125,000. And zooming out for the monthly, as you can see here, we only have another week left before we get our monthly close. Hopefully we can have a green monthly close, but you got to also consider August historically is very bearish, like 80% of the time. And September is typically bullish, and then it gets very bullish when we enter the fourth quarter, October, November, December. And as we're fast approaching, it's that time of the year, family. But let me know your thoughts regarding some of the price action, and where do you feel Bitcoin will likely take us next? Let's discuss these Hong Kong ETFs. The headline here reads, Hong Kong Bitcoin ETFs top $250 billion in assets under management. That's right. Hong Kong spot Bitcoin ETFs have surpassed 2 billion Hong Kong dollars, which is roughly 256 million bucks in assets under management. How many of you have been to Hong Kong? Let me know. I've been there. I actually still have some of the Hong Kong dollars as souvenirs, which I took back with me. And maybe one day I'll pull it out of my passport book and show you. Anyways, the Hong Kong Bitcoin ETFs have had a relatively slow start compared to their U.S. counterparts. According to data from So Value, the 3-spot Bitcoin ETFs in Hong Kong experienced a net inflow of approximately 247 biddies in the past week, bringing their total holdings to around 4,450 BTC. The total assets under management for the ETFs now stands at around 2.1 billion in Hong Kong dollars, which is 269 million USD. ETFs from the China Asset Management and Harvest Asset Management operated a partnership with the digital asset trading platform OSL, accounting for more than 1.3 billion in Hong Kong dollars in assets under management. The third spot Bitcoin ETF, which is unaffiliated with the OSL, holds roughly 776 million in Hong Kong dollars, which is roughly 100 million USD, representing about 42% of the market. Hong Kong investors have a narrow range of options to gain exposure to the BITI when compared with the 11 offerings in the US market. And despite the recent inflows, Hong Kong spot Bitcoin ETFs have underperformed relative to their US counterparts. When the ETFs launched on April 30th, they attracted a total of 262 million of inflows their first week, with the majority of this figure subscribed before the listings went live. Actual asset inflows during the first week were a modest 14 million, a stark contrast to the billions that flowed into the US spot Bitcoin ETFs when they launched back on January 11th. This disparity highlights the challenges Hong Kong faces in positioning itself as a global hub for crypto investments. And as noted by Bloomberg ETF analyst Rebecca Sin, the city's in-kind ETF creation model offers a unique opportunity to increase assets under management and trading volume. However, Hong Kong has yet to catch up with the US market in terms of investor interest and capital inflows. So there you go, yo. We discussed the Hong Kong ETFs. Now let's discuss the ETFs here in the States with some of the influxes, 252 million to be specific. Spot Bitcoin ETFs achieved their highest inflow since late July, with the 12 funds collectively pulling in 252 milli on Friday. Leading the charge, of course, BlackRock's iBit added 86.8 million to its coffers, bringing its total net inflows since January 11th of 2024 to an impressive $20.7 billion. Crazy. Fidelity's FBTC followed, gathering 64 million, while Grayscale's mini Bitcoin trust absorbed roughly 51 mil. Now, Bitwise's BitB recorded 42 million of inflows, and ARK Invest in 21 shares ARKB fund pulled in 23.8 million. VanEck's HODL added 14 million, and the Invesco and Galaxy-backed BTCO captured 3.18 million. Valkyrie's Burr rounded out the day with 2.25 million gain. Meanwhile, Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust faced a challenging day, shedding 35.55 million. It's been a while since the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust converted to the Bitcoin ETF. The outflows have been horrendous. Now, EZBC, BTCW, and DEFI all remained neutral, with neither inflows nor outflows recorded. Friday's 252 million flux pushed cumulative net inflows since January 11th to a total of almost 18 billion, with approximately $3 billion in trade volume registered yesterday. And crazy, right? Currently, the 12 Bitcoin ETFs hold 58.5 billion in Bitcoin reserves, representing 4.65% of the Bitcoin total market cap. So just like that, since January of this year, ETFs now have roughly 5% of the Bitcoin circulating supply. Crazy. Now, Ether ETFs, however, faced another challenging day with a 5.7 million outflow. Friday saw 215 million in Ether ETF trade volume. The 5.7 million loss adds to the cumulative net outflows, now totaling 464 milli since July 23rd. VanEck's ETH-V fund led the day's inflows, bringing 2 million, followed by Bitwise's ETH-W with 1.38 million in gains. Now, Fidelity's FETH fund saw a more modest addition, 685,000 during the Friday session. Grayscale's mini Ether Trust, along with ETH-A, EZET, QETH, and CETH, recorded no gains or losses. And on the downside, Grayscale's ETH-E experienced a 10 million outflow. The 9 other ETFs now collectively hold 7.6 billion in Ether reserves, accounting for 2% of the Ether's total market value. So there you have it. Let's discuss the latest from CZ. I heard he just left prison, but there's more to the story. So here's the headline. Binance founder CZ leaves U.S. prison, but not fully free as of yet. On Thursday, the crypto community, X, speculated that the Binance co-founder and former CEO Changpeng Zhao, commonly known as CZ, has been released from prison a month before the end of his 4-month sentence. However, recent reports reveal a different story. So let's break this down. Shout out CZ. Now, contrary to the circulating rumors, CZ has not been entirely freed from incarceration. Instead, he has been transferred to an administrative facility at the Greater Los Angeles area just 38 days before his scheduled release from custody. According to the information for the U.S. Federal Bureau of Prisons, CZ is now classified as an inmate under the Residential Reentry Management Long Beach Field Office, which oversees federal offenders in Central and Southern California. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he is the richest man in history to ever be incarcerated. I could be wrong, but I just know at one point I think he was worth over $40 billion. And even when having to pay the $4 billion judgment to the Department of Justice, still one of the richest people in the world. Kind of crazy. Imagine being that rich and being stuck in a prison cell. Jesus. Anyways, CZ's legal entanglements stem from a guilty plea he entered in November for violating the Bank Secrecy Act. In April, a federal judge sentenced him to a term shorter than prosecutors sought, but longer than penalties imposed on other crypto execs for similar offenses. Currently serving his sentence in Lompoc, I remember Lompoc, a low-security federal prison in Santa Barbara County. California CZ circumstances are in stark contrast to those of the former FTX CEO, Bankman-Fried, who is serving a 25-year sentence at the New York Metropolitan Detention Center. Now, last November, CZ stepped down as the CEO of Binance and admitted to the felony charge as part of the settlement with U.S. authorities. The agreement included a $4.3 billion civil regulatory penalty for Binance and a prohibition preventing CZ from holding executive roles in any crypto company in the future. And before entering prison, CZ intended to dedicate his time to a writing endeavor during his term of incarceration. And despite the online conjecture, there is no substantiated proof to suggest CZ was at liberty post-transfer, as the BOP website maintains his release date as September 29th. And with a reported net worth now of $36.5 billion, as detailed by Bloomberg, CZ's imprisonment positions him as potentially the wealthiest individual ever detained in the United States. Crazy, right? Now, at this time, the exchange's native token, Binance Coin, is trading at $585 for the first time in nearly a month before the market crashed August 5th that sent the token to a 6-month low of $400. But anyways, fam, keep the comments flowing. Let's dive into our next story of the day. We got 1,400 people here live and on the stream. Here's the news. We shared yesterday, but let's dive a little deeper. There's a new headline. RFK Jr. says he is suspending, not terminating, presidential campaign. Independent U.S. presidential candidate RFK Jr. announced he was not dropping out of the 2024 race, heavily criticizing the Democratic Party and media outlets. Speaking in a live stream event from Phoenix on August 23rd, which was yesterday, Kennedy said he was simply suspending, but not ending, his campaign for the U.S. presidency in 2024. RFK Jr. said his name would remain on the ballot in most states, but he would remove himself in 10 background states to avoid being a spoiler for either Democratic Kamala Harris or Republican Trump. Quoting him from the speech, "In an honest system, I believe I would have won the election. In my heart, I no longer believe that I have a realistic path to electoral victory in the face of this relentless systemic censorship and media control. So I cannot, in good conscience, ask my staff and volunteers to keep working." Shout out RFK Jr., and you can see him addressing the nation right here, which he shared on X. Now, Kennedy called on supporters to vote for him in November, suggesting there was still a path to victory if Harris and Trump tied with 269 electoral votes under the U.S. Constitution. If no candidate in the presidential race gets a majority of the electoral votes, the House of Representatives will vote on a winner from the top 3 contenders. Many had expected the independent candidate to publicly announce he was ending his campaign after he filed a statement of withdrawal with the Arizona Secretary of State August 22nd. Despite saying he intended to try to keep his name on the ballot in most states, RFK Jr. said he would support Trump in 2024, claiming that Vice President Harris declined to meet or even speak with him. What a bitch. After launching his campaign initially as a Democrat in 2023, RFK Jr. made digital asset and blockchain tech a central issue. Respect. In addition to advocating for cryptos like the Biddy, he argued against the U.S. introducing a central bank digital currency. Respect. And suggested putting the national budget on the blockchain. In fact, I mean, I dare say the best speech at Nashville as far as Bitcoin was from RFK Jr. and the promises he made if he was elected president. Some of the things I can remember. I think he also said firing Gary Gensler. I'm going to assume. I know Trump said that on day one. I know he said he would free Ross Ulbricht. I know he said the United States would stockpile all the Bitcoin they have, something that Trump also said. And he also said he would purchase, correct me if I'm wrong, 450 Bitcoin every single day. Something like that. Like, for example, El Salvador has been purchasing 1 Bitcoin per day, but they're a very small country, right? The United States of America is big. Obviously, they have access to money printers and resources. So could you imagine if the United States actually did that, purchasing 450 Bitcoin per day? Be pretty crazy. I think his goal was to get 4 million Bitcoin for the United States of America. Now for our feature story of the day. Bitcoin price to 52 million in the bull scenario by the year 2050, which is 26 years from now, according to VanEck. That's right. Let me break this baby down for you. As you can read in the headline, Bitcoin price by 2050, 52 million, treasure or a $0 trap? I'll tell you my honest feedback. I think Bitcoin's more likely to hit 52 million per coin than go to zero. But what are your thoughts on that, family? Let me know. So yeah, as we approach the close of the first quarter of the 21st century, the world has witnessed remarkable transformations across nearly every domain. And obviously, amongst this, led by Bitcoin, has been nothing short of a revolution. However, as we look forward, the future of Bitcoin remains fiercely contested. So the million-dollar question becomes, is Bitcoin headed for a 52 million valuation or something more modest? Let's discuss it, yo. Now, Bitcoin's ongoing growth has led experts to speculate about its trajectory over the next 25 years. While some envision Bitcoin reaching extraordinary heights, others foresee a drastic downfall. Let's first examine the arguments supporting the bullish future for the Bitty. So here you go. A comprehensive analysis by VanEck's digital asset research team projects Bitcoin's value can surge to $2.9 million in a base case scenario, or reach as high as an astounding $52 million in a bullish scenario by 2050. Now, granted, that's a pretty substantial gap. Nonetheless, it is what it is. So what's driving these optimistic price predictions? VanEck's research is rooted in the belief that Bitcoin will evolve into a key global reserve currency. Could you imagine Bitcoin achieving that? Let me know. The firm anticipates that the Bitty can soon play a central role as an international medium of exchange, particularly in the implementation of new Bitcoin Layer 2 solutions. They also predict that the Bitcoin will facilitate 10% of the global trade transactions and 5% of domestic trade by 2050. Furthermore, VanEck suggests that central banks could hold 2.5% of their assets in Bitcoin by then. And here are some significant factors VanEck highlights that could contribute to the Bitcoin value surge by 2050. Number one, a transforming international monetary system. A major driver of the Bitcoin potential rise is the shift in the international monetary system, the IMS, and according to the VanEck analysis, current trade indicate that economies are gradually distancing themselves from traditional currency reserves. Today, the IMS is largely dominated by the US dollar, along with the British pound, Japanese yen, and the euro. A country's currency is used in global trade based on its share of the world's GDP, which in turn strengthens the financial infrastructure built around the currency. Now, for decades, the system had remained stable, but cracks are beginning to show. VanEck's research notes that the US dollar share in cross-border payments has hovered around 61% for the past 45 years. However, the euro and the yen have seen significant declines. The euro's share of global payments has dropped from 22% in the mid-2000s to 14.5% by the end of 2023. And its presence in central bank reserves also decreased 25% in the late 2000s to 19% in 2023. Meanwhile, the Japanese yen has fared even worse, with its shares of global payments falling from 12% in the mid-1990s to under 5% in 2023. While its central bank reserves has shrunk from 6.2% to just over 5% in the same period. These shifts suggest the reliance on the principal four currencies, the US dollar, the yen, the euro, and the pound, waning globally. Now, VanEck posits that the diminishing dependence opens the door for Bitcoin to fill the gap in the years ahead. Now, de-dollarization and the emergence of a new IMS. The VanEck analysis highlights the significant shift tied to the de-dollarization. Although the US dollar remains a dominant global reserve currency, many nations are gradually moving away from it, a trend known as de-dollarization. Several factors are driving this transition, including the following: the US dollar becoming increasingly expensive for emergent economies, changes in oil demand and trade relation with the Gulf countries, and geopolitical events, the most critical being the Russia-Ukraine conflict, and let's not forget the BRICS movement as well. This gradual distancing from the US dollar is paving the way for the new IMS. According to the VanEck research, the Chinese yuan, the renminbi, has seen its value double over the past year. Countries such as Saudi Arabia, Brazil, and Russia are increasingly using the renminbi for international trade in place of the US dollar, and moreover, emergent economies are favoring local currencies over the US dollar. For instance, India is now purchasing oil using the Indian rupee and settling trade in Malaysia with the Indian rupees. Now, another factor is the distribution in traditional international currency reserves. The transition away from traditional IMS has disrupted global currency reserves. VanEck projects that by 2050, there will be a rise in bilateral trade agreements and a more significant role for the Chinese renminbi. And additionally, emerging market currencies could account for 3% to 7.5% of the central bank reserves over the next 25 years. A reliance of dominant reserve currency diminishes. VanEck foresees the Bitcoin share of global reserves climbing to 2.5%. The firm also predicts Bitcoin's role in international and domestic trade will increase, capturing 10% to 5% of the market share. Now, another factor, I'll read, this will be the last one. Bitcoin emerging as a new reserve currency. In this evolving IMS, Bitcoin is likely to emerge as a new global currency for the global economies. VanEck asserts that most emerging markets lack the stability or the influence to achieve reserve currency status. And while some countries may lean on China and other emerging powers, those wary of suboptimal reserve options might turn to the biddy. VanEck identifies several advantages that Bitcoin offers as a reserve currency, including the following: unchallenged monetary policy, neutrality, adequate property rights, and a lack of government bias. So as we know, Bitcoin's decentralized neutral structure allows for transparent software-driven algorithms rather than politically influenced decision-making, making it an attractive option for reserve status. And I mean, we can go on and on. There's actually a very long article. I'll include it in the show notes below the video in the description, but it breaks down the math. And again, this is according to VanEck. It's a major asset manager. So I'll just read you the highlight here as far as the prediction. Assuming that the Bitcoin velocity is similar to the US average, approximately 1.5. VanEck analysis conclude the Bitcoin's base value could reach 2.9 million per coin by 2050, representing 1.6% of the world's financial assets. And while the bearish scenario pegs Bitcoin's value at 130,000, the bullish outlook sees it skyrocketing to an eye-watering $52 million per BTC. Let me know if you agree or disagree with the major asset manager. Welcome everyone to the Q&A segment of the live show. I'm going to do my best to read all the comments out loud. Let me know your thoughts, projections, predictions, and we'll go from there. Any of you have English lops or need a breeder? Hear me out. Hey, which came first, the chicken or the egg? What if the chicken butt and the first egg popped out one side of the chicken popped out the other? I understand. I was actually, whoa. And I love the comments are coming so fast I can't keep up. Nothing comes from itself. It has to be created and nurtured or it fails miserably. Chicken butt is the wormhole. So you're saying the chicken butt is the wormhole. It sounds like facts solve that mystery. I have a Rex, not Lops. Music better meet production on the Rex. I made a crypto thought experiment, says Adam. Hey fam, shout out Laura. What's up? I didn't get much sleep last night. My brain is hurt trying to figure out what you just said, Shandy. The only valid estimation is the percentage revenue of the year for the monetary debasement, and I assume that it'll be 10% by 2040 until 2040, even 15 to 20% each year. Quick, someone make a meme coin. Haha. Hey, what up, JB? Shit out crypto today, and everyone won't be long at the 100K party. We'll be ready to be scheduled. Maybe we can get Trump to come. That would be mind-boggling if we had Trump in Puerto Rico at the 100K party. Can someone arrange that? Anyone have access to Trump? I might have to call on a favor from the Oracle.